Whoa. Ooh, we've got words?
I know it has words. What's up, everybody? We got some music with words today. We're about to get our Quickie on.
We're about to do it.
It's about to go down, everybody.
So bad, but so good. Okay.
That's what she said. Anyways, let us know where you are tuning in from in the comments. And we're going to get started with another Quickie. We got the Quickie music on. Let's do it again.
Throwback to the 80s.
I know, it's Throwback Thursday.
I feel like it's just that way to go.
Here we are. All right. Looks like there's a lot of cool people starting to dial in.
Yay!
So that is rad. All right, cool. So we are going to officially go live in 3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody?
Woohoo!
And it just fades out.
You know what? I didn't get the notification that we're live.
I know, right? It's a little bit slow today, but we are live. It is officially live. We're a minute and 16 seconds into it. It is Thursday. There are exactly 200 days left in 2020.
How many?
200. Or no, 100. 100. Forgive me. 100.
I was like, oh.
No. 100. 100. Thank you for paying attention. See, someone is listening. There's exactly 100 days as of today left in 2020.
Oh no!
I know, right? Down. Right. The countdown has begun, or the count up. I don't know. Either way, today's theme is all about values.
Values, so important. And this is something that I feel like I constantly talk about. It's the one question where I don't know what you say, Gary, when people ask you this question on like podcast interviews and stuff like that. But it's just like, if you had to, give somebody or give your former self like advice, to your previous self, like what would that be? And I always come back to, or whatever other advice, or like if you want to take this little nugget and package like everything that you're all about, and you have to, you could only say one thing, what would it be? I would say like something to the effect of understanding and honoring your values. So I'm excited for this Quickie, and even the ones that we're doing for the next few weeks, I'm excited for this Quickie because there's just so many amazing fundamental things that we're going to be talking about over the next few weeks in preparation for what's happening in 100 days from now, which is the new year. So, so we're going to talk about it. Yeah, like we're going to share 3 different ways that you can identify your personal values starting now.
Yes. All right. You put me on the spot. Oh my gosh.
Oh, you're not ready.
I am ready, but like it was just too much. It was too much. Oh my gosh. I got
That's
like
what she said.
I got performance anxiety, and I couldn't spit it out fast enough. So anyways,
Number
which
one
leads into number 1, which is pay attention to your emotions.
Yes.
So if you want to know, like, if you're trying to figure out, like, what are your values? What are those, like, sort of guiding principles that are going to guide your decisions, guide your behavior? You need to start thinking about, like, how do you feel in certain situations? What are the things that make you happy? What are the things that piss you off? Because that is going to be a guide. I like to say that, our values are like a compass that is going to, let you know when you're in the right state. And a lot of times our brain, we need to get out of our brain and into our hearts, because that's where all the intuition is going to come from. And once you start to understand like what's important to you and what makes you happy, what brings you joy, you probably will find situations where you're going to feel challenged, and that dissonance is not a bad thing. But a lot of times people, maybe one of your values is you want to do good for others, or you want to partake in activities that is doing good for the world. And maybe you're at a job where, yes, the pay may be great, but when you look at the impact that company is making, you don't feel good, and you get that you feel guilty about it. Like, or you're starting to get that little, should I be here? And a lot of times, because of money, and we need money to survive. It would be nice if I can pay my rent with smiles and unicorn tears, but it's not a possibility yet. And so a lot of times you sway away from that. And so it's important to like understand you know what's up. And if you feel that tension, that's not a bad thing. That is your body telling you, hey, pay attention, pay attention, there's something here.
Totally. And then just to piggyback on that, I think um,
Please.
when you are, when you want to look at kind of the extremes of your emotions, right? So like when you're super happy, like you think about those times where you're like, this is freaking awesome. I'm so happy. Like what is happening in that moment? You know, as an example, like, when for my birthday earlier this year, when all of my friends, like after like just kind of being in this like, oh my god, I'm turning 40 in quarantine and whatnot, my family and my friends, like they did not disappoint. They like really made me feel super loved. And I thought about all the things that happened during that day. And, why was that such an important day to me? Because I care about connection. Didn't feel alone in those times when, I'm stuck in the house and I can't go anywhere. And yes, I've got my family here, but all the people who are outside, people drove all the way to my house just to say happy birthday, like all at the same time. It made me feel cared for because connection is such a huge uh, value for me. On the flip side, if you look at the things that like really piss you off, as Gary was mentioning, I worked, as an example, maybe this isn't necessarily for me, but there was an organization that I worked for and I felt like, I was a part of it and I wanted to contribute, but I felt like I didn't really know what was going on. And it triggered me in a way that I felt like, why am I wasting my time being a part of this? Because I feel like I'm just kind of a talking head and I'm there and I'm not contributing to the group's mission. And that kind of transposed into an organization that I was running where I was like, I think the reason why I was triggered by that organization is because I felt like there wasn't enough transparency. Like I just felt like, okay, things were happening, decisions were being made, and nobody really cared about my opinion. And so that made me realize that transparency was something that was also important to me. So looking at these different emotions can give you a sense of what values are being honored that are important to you and what values might be challenged. So that was a long description for number one, but I think that covers it all because this is a really important one because it's a very easy way to tell what some of your values are. Shall we hop on to number two? Or did
Number
you
two.
have more to say?
Nah, it's all good. I think we nailed that one home.
Yeah.
And so if you start to pay attention to what lights you up, what fires you up, and you start to have a good idea about that, might be helpful to take an assessment. There's a number of free assessments out there. You can just Google value assessment, and they'll give you these, like, what are the things that are important? Yada 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 yada, and the end goal is to have an idea of what your values are. And April, I know you know of some specifically.
Yeah, I personally created one, and not, I didn't completely, like I took from some assessments that I have taken prior to just kind of help because sometimes you need words to anchor. So my assessment is more about, what are the words that kind of resonate with you, and they give you this long list, and you can kind of pick and choose. But it's more of an exploratory way to say like these are things that are important to me. So of course I don't have every word in the book, but maybe some of the ones that tend to be popular. But my assessment also takes the second step of like, okay, so if these are your values, if these are the words that resonate with you most, how much are you walking the talk? So that's an example of one that I have. And Gary, you have one too that you
Yeah.
have.
So the one that I personally like is all about finding your true north, and it comes from the book by a friend of the show, Dr. Samantha Brody. She has an amazing book called Overcoming Overwhelm, and it's a personalized approach to resilience, better health, and with this guide is not all just about picking here are a bunch of values, but it gets you to there's some questions in there that get you to think, like what we talked about earlier about, things that bring you joy, things that light you up. And then ideally, when you're done, you have a, good list of, values to choose from. And, that takes us to the next one, number 3. And this is important. How do you want to show up? So you take in like a, sort of stock of your feelings. You've done an assessment. You have some words. But at the end of the day, values are nothing unless you can align it to your behaviors, to how you want to show up. Brene Brown talks about this in, I believe, it's Daring Greatly or Dare to Lead, one of those. But, she talks about, when you have the values, what are the actions, how can you live through those values? So that's why it's important to understand, how do you want to show up? And your values should guide you through that. And if you are, having some challenges, like trying to figure that out, Apryl, you have some really good tips on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things, just like how you're paying attention to your feelings, right? There are certain people that you may feel drawn to. They might, you feel like they resonate with you. And so using that same methodology, you kind of say, like, what is it about this person that that is drawing me to them? Like if I think about Gary, I think about the fact that like he's super fun and he's easygoing and there's like no, carefree, like no stress. It's a no stress relationship. And so like I know that overwhelm triggers me. So like overwhelm is like not a value of mine. Like I want peace and calm. But I also want fun, right? Like a lot of times when we are having our weekly meetings, like we go off on a tangent and we're talking and, joking around about funny stuff. And even just the way that we deliver these quickies to you is very playful in nature. And so I know that that's a value for me as well, to be playful, to have fun and all of that stuff. So think about the people you surround yourself with, or maybe even somebody that you admire. Like, is there a celebrity out there? Like, what do you like about this celebrity? Is it because they show up with confidence? And what is it about it that makes them confident? And try to think about those values, because that might help you figure out how you want to align yourself as well. So I think that's the other thing that I wanted to say. No, I didn't want to say anything else. That's it. Do you have anything else, Gary?
Yeah, the main thing is, we only have one life, one chance. And, do you want to be on your deathbed looking back on the life you lived? I have an idea. No, I'm joking. I don't know. I just heard that dinging. It just.
Oh yeah, I just tried. I was like, squirrel.
Anyway,
that was on my end too.
Right, I was getting out deep. I was like, think about how your life is going to be. And then all of a sudden, ding is like,
oh, supper's ready.
All right, cool. All right, here we go. Anyways, so silly. But no, seriously, like, do you want to live with regret because you lived someone else's life? And the cool thing about doing the work and having the values, and for you perfectionist type people, just know that over time, just like your taste in clothes can change, the things that you value can change as well. So this is not like a life sentence, but for some people, you will know when it resonates so true to you, like these are your values. It like resonates in your bones so much so that you probably want to get it tattooed on your body. And it's all good.
Yeah. And I want to, the other thing that I think that is really important about values that maybe we haven't mentioned yet is that when you know your values, you actually are able to, make decisions more efficiently, and that's a whole point. Like, we're all about efficiency and trying to like get things done while having fun too. But I just think that it's really like every time you're going to do that, I'm going to pull up my sign. But I think it's really important to know that if you understand what your values are, it makes decision making easier. It just allows you to show up as your true self, and it just makes life easier. I never knew this, and it was like I only learned my values or kind of started to hone in on them at the age of 35. And yes, they might change and evolve over time, very slightly. But when you find the core ones, you can use that as a filter to, figure out what direction you want to go in life. So that's why we wanted to share all of this information, because if you don't know your values, this is the time to really try to figure it out. And I promise you, it will make your life so much easier. So, is that it?
That's it.
All
we
right.
Nailed it.
Yes. And so, just as a part of, this week's Quickie, we just wanted to mention, we are the Accountability Success Circle success team, and we are dedicated to bringing people together who want to enjoy their lives and do some really cool stuff. Shit, can I say that? So if you are interested in being a part of an amazing community that is going to help you up-level your life in all the ways, come check us out at accountabilitysuccesscircle.com. At the same token, we are really honing in on the wrapping up the end of 2020, where I think we're all ready for 2021, and we're starting to get ready to prepare for what is in store for ourselves in the next year. And we have an annual planning retreat October 9th through 11th. I think it's 2 weekends from now already.
Yeah.
Or the third weekend from now. We still have some spots open. We're trying to keep the registration small right now, but if you're interested in joining us and just making sure that you've created space to really have a badass 2021, no matter what happens in the election or coronavirus and all that stuff, really focusing on the things that you can control in your life and making sure that life is amazing for you. We're here to plan together what our 2021 will look like. And so check that out as well. So until next week, we'll have another awesome Quickie for you. And hope to see you then.
Hope to see you then. Oh my gosh, that was so much. That was so much fun.
Yeah.
So, all right. Till then, everyone. I'm like trying to push up the thing. All right. See you then. Right.
Bye.
Bye.